Parceros. Welcome to the Parceros Take, episode 11. I'm El Parcero Dani. We're here with my co-host, Ronald Peña. For those of you that don't know, El Parceros Take is an environment, a place where we talk La Selección Colombia, Reinaldo Rueda now. We're done with Profe Queiroz, and just the culture itself. I'm El Parcero Dani. I'm here with Ronald, El Parcero Ron, and a special guest, Niko Moreno. Parcero Niko, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just happy to be on con los parceros. Aquí con el atuendo negro, the black, the only guy with not the colors, and that is not a coincidence, people, because it sounds to me like I'm gonna be the contrast here in a lot of opinions.
No, it's all good, man. I mean, it's just Ron with El Quindío, man. So don't worry about him. It's just, we don't worry about that. What up, Ron?
No, good, man. Just happy to have Niko on. Our very first guest on this podcast, El Fabricio Romano of the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
we have on here on deadline day a bit of news for Colombians abroad in deadline day, but now just happy to be talking about La Selección Colombia.
Same, man. Parceros Take, episode 11. We're going to be talking about a little bit of where we left off with La Copa America, the work that Reinaldo did, the new upcoming triple header. I guess that's what we call it now. It's kind of weird, right? The times, Messi going, Ronaldo. We got triple headers in La Eliminatoria now. And Reinaldo Rueda's call-ups. And finally, our first matchup, Bolivia. So without further ado, talk to me, Ron. What do you think as far as Copa America? Look at where we're at now. Reinaldo Rueda's first big assignment, Las Eliminatorias, Copa America. Where do you see the team now?
I think Reinaldo did a great job with a Copa America third place finish, given the circumstances. He only had 2 games to prepare going in. And although Niko will go against everything I say, I think that Reinaldo did a very good job, implemented some new names in there, Cuellar, Borré. Overall, I think he won the matches he needed to win, and experimented a bit, which is what he said he was going to do going in. But I want to know what Niko thought about how Reinaldo held up.
I'm very intrigued as well.
Hey, I will start off by saying this. You can't, before Copa America, say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there and win this cup. Because he said that. And then once you make your call up and you figure out that you decided to call up guys that perhaps should not have been in that roster, then I'm going to experiment. I'm going to just play and see how it is. That's not how this works, man. Either you do one or the other. You cannot change your thought process or your objectives once this thing starts. So, no, I was not happy with the way he handled this. Copa America was not to experiment. Copa America was to unify, cement, solidify that starting 11. Not one time did we see Muriel playing alongside Zapata, regardless of them being by far and beyond the best 2 strikers that Colombia has. There was changes in defense. There were changes in the midfield. The whole purpose of this thing was to perhaps look for a solid center defensive midfield that was a true left footer. He did not do that in this one. There was just so much inconsistency in his thought process that I thought it was a fail. Now, third place, that's all good and well. But what you said was that he wanted to experiment, right? So results should not account for what he did. I just don't think he experimented in the right places. Sebastian Perez is a lie. And I don't know who paid that man to get on that roster. Jimmy Chara, look, I think he did well. And he represented for MLS, and I'm glad he did. But did he really deserve that call-up? I mean, where did that really come from? Because he wasn't having a good MLS tournament. Portland wasn't a good team in MLS, and yet he got the call-up. That sounds to me like palanca. Like that was something that maybe I know this guy. Bueno, no me quería ir a la rosca. And all respect to Jimmy. Love Jimmy. I think he's a great guy. Love him. He's always great to me in Portland. And he did well. I thought he performed whenever he needed to get in there. Although I saw my dad cringe every time he see him, warming up, I thought he did well.
Well, but when you said Reinaldo Rueda didn't find a starting 11. You don't think the 2 games we went out against Uruguay and Argentina, you don't think he fielded our starting 11 from now on?
No, I still don't, because once again, we didn't see that startup lineup that we wanted to see up top, and I think anytime that you don't have James, which we'll talk about, at some point in this broadcast, you don't have your starting in now 11, and there were injuries, and I understand that, but your left back and your right back are not necessarily your starting 11. So right now, I don't think throughout the whole process. Right now, I couldn't tell you what the starting 11 is. I couldn't tell you who's for sure going to be on the left side of that left back position. I couldn't tell you if it's going to be Nunez or it's going to be Medina on the right side. I can't tell you those things. I don't even know who's going to be up top. So that's exactly why I don't think we ever saw it, and I don't think I don't think he knows what the starting 11.
Honestly, he might not know.
The striker pairing up top is complicated because you have so many good options. I mean, I don't think,
and even then,
Muriel don't coexist on the same starting 11 in Atalanta. I don't think why would they in La Selección Colombia?
See, okay, so I think personally, to add to what Niko's saying, because I agree with both. I think, in my opinion, I think he started out testing, and Copa America was meant to test out some of the players and see what worked and what didn't. And that's what we saw at the beginning, right? That's when we played against Venezuela, when we played against Ecuador. I think Peru was another one that it was just kind of iffy. We didn't know.
The Peruvian was terrible.
The first one was
Zapata.
Yeah.
Zapata on the left wing and right wing.
What I was more intrigued about La Copa America was, and it gives me a little more, I guess, breather. I can breathe a little bit, is how we went out against Argentina and how we went out against Brazil. That 4-4-2. That's when I think really Reinaldo Rueda showed maybe that I think he knows what he's doing. I think he knows what he's doing with that 4-4-2, with Lucho, with Cuadrado. I didn't think Munoz did bad on the right side. I like Stefan Medina on that side. I like Niko said, but like Niko says, we still don't know. And I think I want to move forward and talk a little bit about La Convocatoria, because he is making changes. He rotated. There's some new names. Do they deserve to be here? Do they not? And I want to start out with something that Reinaldo Rueda said about James, that in order for James to be in La Selección, he needed to be 500%. I'm quoting Reinaldo Rueda. He needed to be 500% for James to be here. So has he been calling up players that are 500%? Because now we're talking about what are the new big names. We got Falcao coming up. We got Juan Quintero coming up. What do you guys think about this new convocatoria and just about that philosophy of Reinaldo Rueda?
500% is a big number. I don't think Cardona has ever been 500% of anything. He hasn't been 100% of anything. And yet he was called up and he was used more than Muriel in all Copa America. As he gasped for air after 11 minutes of being on the pitch.
We got Niko.
I broke the camera. Hold on.
That's hilarious. But you crack me up.
Cardona is a different type of player. He's a creative. He's a midfielder that the guy you look for different solutions, not your typical midfielder. No, and in that roster they didn't have many of those players. They had Cuadrado and Cardona, maybe those two creatives.
And our boy Randall, shout out to Randall, says, yeah, there's nothing wrong with testing. Yeah, I agree. I think at first there wasn't anything wrong with testing, and I think it showed that he changed to that 4-4-2. But yeah, Cardona did not get called up. I believe he's injured. We are missing a couple players, right?
I think he's out partying with Nelson Velasquez again.
Man. Jerry, Muriel, que no van a estar because of injuries. Those are tough losses. I mean, I guess not really, because Muriel didn't even play last Cup anyways. But Jerry is a guy that, despite how awkward sometimes he's with the ball and how sometimes he can be criticized on the one-on-one defending and getting out on open field to defend. I mean, he's Mina, and he's a threat on aerial balls on the offense. He is dominant in the air on defense, and for me, he's a starter. I mean, he has to be, right. So he will definitely be missed, but it's a good opportunity for other center backs to show up.
So who steps in for him? Cuesta would be,
Cuesta, I
or
think
Oscar Murillo.
Es que Cuesta should be, but he didn't get no minutes in Copa America. That's what I wanted to see. You want to experiment, homie? Experiment where we need to experiment. Experiment with the guys that are going to be coming up that you might need, right? So it's going to be Oscar Murillo. There's no doubt about that, in my opinion.
He likes him. He's played Oscar Murillo for a while.
He has, and he knows him well.
Yeah.
Oscar Murillo comes from his style of soccer. He's been doing it well in Liga MX, so that'll be interesting. But he'll be missed for sure. Mina will.
With Muriel being injured, which I'm kind of sad because everyone talks about there's no place for Muriel when Duan's up there. Duan's not going through a good time right now. He didn't get called up. I wanted to see Muriel kind of step into that number 9, which is his true position. He hasn't been played in his true position. Borja, as you know, has taken on that role. Any other? Can we agree that Borja is going to be that guy, or do we see any other players that got called up in this new convocatoria?
Borja in the most recent games has been more threatening than Zapata, and that's just facts for la selección.
Yeah, and I would agree. And I've always liked Borja. I've liked Borja since Nacional. I think he is.
I think Rueda did too. Rueda does too, bro. We get it.
I think he is a dominant player, and he does a lot of different things because he is a very physical player. He can anticipate balls well, but he does have that quickness. He likes to pressure. With a lot more experience that perhaps Borre did. Despite Borre having a couple of good games at the end of the Copa America, I thought he did some of the things I was asking for. But I think Borja does that more consistently. I don't like Roger Martinez being called up. There was a time where I thought he was going to be this amazing player. But there is a little bit of issues with his consistency and discipline. And because this team has lacked a little bit of leadership, that's why I'm glad Falcao was going. Perhaps he can be that guy that can gather up this group of forwards, attackers, and really bring them together. Because Roger Martinez, he has the talent. I don't doubt that. And I thought his biggest mistake was going to China from Racing. I thought he could have waited and been more patient and gone somewhere else, and perhaps his career would have taken a different path. But he does have a very talented foot. He's not afraid, and he is defiant with the ball. I think we need that. So it'll be interesting. But there's guys like John Cordova that I feel like there's never really gotten a look.
Yo, you took it from me, bro. You because my next question was gonna be, who are those guys that we think should have been called up? And right off the bat, up top, I'm thinking John Cordova. In the past 6 games, he scored 5 goals and 2 assists. And like he just got moved to Russia. In his last 6 games in that team, he hasn't scored one game, and that's because they lost 1-0. Every other game, he's either scored or scored and assisted. So
yeah, he's killing it in Russia, and I think you make the same argument for Cucho Hernandez playing in the Prem, getting some minutes in. But I don't see what striker would you take out of La Convocatoria to make space for those players.
I think Roger out. I mean, it's that simple. Roger. Yeah, it would be Roger if he's straight up.
But this team doesn't have many wingers, no? And Roger is that player that can play on the wings.
Well, that's why you bring Sinisterra. And that's why there's one of the guys that I do like, that I've been following from the U20s, who's extremely quick, that is really low-key one. Luis is honestly a player that can play the wing, that can stretch out, that can maybe give you another Cuadrado on that left side. And I like it. I think that we do need players like that, especially with Luis Muriel being out, that he does give you some of that explosiveness. And I'm excited to see him in this other level, because I feel like he still hasn't found that. But he's another player that's very talented, at least physical attribute wise. The dude has it all. So I just feel like he hasn't found the right team, for one, club team. So I'm excited for this to be this vitrina, this showcase that he could just blow up on.
And
You
I
think
think
he's a sub for Lucho Diaz, or you think he starts in the game, or what do you see? How
no, I
many
think he
minutes
has to be a
gets?
sub. He's
Yeah,
got to be
he'll
a
be a
sub
sub.
because we got Lucho Diaz and Cuadrado, bro. There's no way you sit down right
And,
now.
and he,
Cuadrado, you cannot sit
yeah,
down. Cuadrado
and
is our
he's
captain right now.
he is Lucho. Like he plays the
Oh,
exact same style, right? So he
he's
has to be
he's
sub.
he's very similar to Lucho, and I think everyone can agree that Lucho after the Copa America, the guy,
Oh yeah,
he's our next. He's our
similar
next guy.
vibes to James in 2014.
Same vibes.
That's what I got.
Same vibes. Dang you. So let me ask you guys something. No James. Who creates? Do we fall back? Do we fall back on Quinterito? Is Quinterito gonna be our creator? Do we continue to rely on Cuadrado? What do you guys think? And
Go ahead,
shout out
Ronald.
to
Cuadrado, definitely that go-to guy. Referente
shout
de
out
la
to Aprieto
selección.
shout out to Aprieto NYC for the question.
Yeah, Cuadrado is definitely that go-to guy, referente de la selección. I think Quintero can step in as well. That magic left foot he has, even though Niko will disagree with me, I think Quintero brings something completely different to what this team is used to. Something similar to James, even though he doesn't go. James is a little bit more perfect, more polished version of Quintero, but Quintero is still that raw skill that will give you always that one or two opportunities to score a clear goal every single match. So between those two players, I think Colombia will depend on chance creation for sure.
Yeah, no, look, I will admit that Quintero's not my favorite player because I do think he lacks a little bit of that dynamic soccer I like to see. But I will say that he is probably one of the very few creators that you could bring up to this team that has been there, done that, that has a quality left foot, that could beat you with mid-range shots, that could put balls through in the 18, in between spaces in the midfield. So I get why he's called up. I just think that he's going to have a lot of the same Cardona limitations in which you're going to have to manage his minutes. But I do like him. Yes, he likes fitness. Absolutely. He does. I mean, that is no secret, right? So that's what really worries me. And then also, we don't know what the identity of this team is. Are we going to go 4-4-2? Because if it's a 4-4-2, Quintero is immediately out. He can't be there. Are you going to play with a 10, a diamond in the middle with just one holding mid? I doubt it. So what are we going to do exactly? It's going to be a 4-4-1-1, which we saw that in Copa America. But would you really want Quintero to be that only guy right behind either, I don't know, Falcao or Borja? Are you? I mean, I don't know. So there's just so many question marks. I wish that we had a little bit more of a blueprint to what this team would look like so we could fit in players a little bit better. But I understand why he's there. There's no Campas. There's no James. I get it.
No Cardona.
No Cardona.
No Cardona. A mí no me de Cardona.
Yeah. Moving forward.
A Cardona solo lo quiero de. If there's a party, we need a DJ, we'll call Cardona. But aside from that, you know what? Let that man go. Sí.
I think, and for Santiago that's tuning in from YouTube, I think mainly the reasoning, I guess Niko's reasoning for Quintero not being that dynamic is it may be lacking that back and forth. Is that back and forth? If we're gonna put him in a 4-4-1-1 under Borja, he won't do the same function as if we put Borré in that role. Borré
and that's what I mean. Yeah. Absolutely, you're right on that. That dynamic ability. Yeah, I'm not saying he's a bad player. No.
Because Quintero's gonna give you either a goal or un pase goal per game, at least. That's guaranteed.
Like a clear chance.
Or two nutmegs. Like
look,
at least a highlight reel.
Yeah.
And because people have this awful stigma on MLS, I will admit that I do have a negative stigma when it comes to players coming from the Chinese league. That's just me. The Chinese Superliga, for me, I don't like it.
Speaking of somebody that I didn't understand not being called up, was Jimmy Chara. Because, yeah, even though we didn't get why he got called up for Copa America, I felt like in Copa America he got minutes and he actually played well.
Yep.
He played weight in the outside. They
experienced.
put him under. They put him in the middle. He played weight in the middle.
Yep.
What I liked about Chara was he found asociaciones. He was moving in and out, playing the ball, found the ball. The timing, he was able to slow down the game.
And
I think
another
he played
player,
well, man. I didn't get why the rotation. I'm still weird about
another
didn't
player.
he call him up? Why did he called up Lucumi? That's still my questions with Reinaldo Rueda.
Another player I want to mention is Gustavo Cuellar, another player like in that realm of players that you don't consider in the top leagues. But Gustavo Cuellar had a great Copa America, Copa America. And in that game against Peru, he was vital.
Oh, he was solid.
3-0
and right now Cuellar played so well, especially with after Mateos went down with an injury, and it kind of, I don't know, would you guys say it solidified Cuellar in the midfield with Barrios, or will you still guys play Mateos in the midfield with Barrios?
No, I like Uribe. Uribe is a more profound and a more complete box-to-box midfielder, which you need, because Barrios is your disturber. He's your pit bull. He's the one that's going to be doing a lot of more of the defending. So you need that guy that's going to have more of that two-way type of soccer in the midfield. Cuellar did good. Believe me, he did well. I think that. Yeah, see, there you go. Well, I don't like Chinese Superliga guys getting called up, so I'm guilty there. So yeah, Cuellar, I thought he didn't only just play well in Copa America, but after his first call up with Reinaldo Rueda, I thought in that first eliminatoria, I thought he played well as well. He was one of the very few players that did well. So yeah, I think he's definitely a Rueda guy. I think he's been productive. He's done his job. So yeah, I think he deserves to be on here.
Speaking of MLS, one player I would love to see in that midfield, or like get minutes, or at least be called up.
Eduard
Atuesta. He deserves it, man. I think he deserves it. I mean, captain of the U23s. He's one of the top players in his position here in MLS. And if Reinaldo has eyes on Jimmy Chara, why not Eduard Atuesta? And
if he has eyes on Alex Mejia, why
not? I was gonna say that.
That's the question mark, bro.
Hey,
because
yo soy hincha nacional, and I'm telling you, when I saw his name, I took off my glasses and I'm like, is this really what's going on? So
I don't know. That's the equivalent. I'm sorry, but that's the equivalent of Peckerman calling up Abel Aguilar. Not even playing so much.
Yeah,
hey, man.
I agree.
Hey, man. You guys talk so much shit about Abel Aguilar, but he had that assist on the James goal against Uruguay.
Yeah, but that was 2014. Abel Aguilar had no reason to be in.
No business.
Business being in Russia, bro.
And I'm making reference to that golazo that James did.
And in the same way, Mejia has no business here, and I don't know what it is. He's calling all his old homies. I mean, I don't know what is going on here, but it's odd. I mean, he when you go through that list, there was a same thing when I saw Sebastián Pérez the first time. I had to give a second look and figure out if that shit was wrong.
Especially with I know Alzate is not getting the most minutes, but I would rather see Alzate in that center midfield. I would like to see him in support of Barrios, not necessarily like the creator, because in the Premier League he's not the creator, he's not the 10. I want to see him more as a number 8, just kind of facilitator in the midfield. Something that we didn't see from him. I think whenever he did play, well, he even wore the number 10. I think he just put an X on his back and just kind of.
But look, Alzate played about 900 minutes between 2020 to 2021. I think he's a guy that's very talented, that should be maybe getting a look at as a federation, as a soccer federation. You should be trying to get this guy some minutes and figure out where they fit and maybe help their development a little bit. I think Alzate is one of those guys that don't show some promise, and instead of calling Mejia, sure enough, why not call Alzate?
Or Eduard Atuesta.
O Atuesta, dale con Atuesta. Bueno, y si nos ponemos de aquí a elegir favoritos, if that's what it's going to be about, get my boy Yemer Gomez Andrade. I know he's just coming from a terrible game against Portland because he did look bad in this one. But I mean, he's a candidate for MLS Defender of the Year. I mean, hey, if we need to be calling Parceros, hey, well, hit him up. Let me get on the phone with Rueda and tell him I got this guy's number.
Would would Falcao be considered calling a parcero?
What's that?
No.
Would Falcao be considered? Playing?
No.
Well, the reason why I
No.
said it is because Falcao in the last 4 months has only played 28 minutes. He's only played
No,
28 minutes.
No,
in
I
the
get it.
last
No,
4 months.
But it's that leadership he represents and that
Yeah.
unifying piece in the locker room. You know, being
But-
that.
but you bring up a great point.
That could easily be John Cordova's position.
Yeah. No, you bring up a good point because you are taking a spot of a guy that could perhaps be someone that's not going to be just good in this 3-game stretch, but also in the future, right? And I don't know how much left is in Falcao's tank, and maybe that's what you want to see out of this next couple of 2 weeks. We love him, and he does bring leadership, and I don't think anybody here has the cojones to question, why Falcao should be in the pitch, but I want to
if
see
he
it.
starts him, would you don't start him though. So let's lead into like what would you guys foresee be the starting lineup going up to a very tough Bolivia away match,
In La Paz.
Yeah,
So fitness is key right here.
Yeah. Wheels.
It's difficult. I think
because
I think you go.
games over there are tomidames. If you notice, games over there never end 1-0, 0-0. It's always like you both teams are scoring. Whether they lose or win, it's either 2-2, 3-2, 2-1.
Vea, yo me la voy a tirar. This is what I would put just at the top of the dome. David Ospina, Stefan Medina on the right, Oscar Murillo con Sánchez por izquierda, Dairon Mosquera de Santa Fe. ¿Por qué? Porque en realidad Tecillo was okay, really, and I think that Mosquera playing in Bogotá is not La Paz, but it is in altitude, and I think that will help him kind of adapt a little bit quicker in a difficult game.
Good defensive winger, winger, back and forth, a lot of wheels.
And understands the position, gets it well. Wilmer Barrios con Uribe en la mitad de la cancha, right in the middle.
I love Mateos.
Juan Guillermo Cuadrado and Lucho Diaz, who are written in Sharpie, right? Yeah. And then up top, Miguel Borja y Borre, because it's what you kind of went with. Okay. Just because it's what worked last, right? So I'm a guy that would formación que gana repite, right? In some way, but you can't. That's right. So let's try it out and see what happens.
Nah, I'm with you. I'm with you with Borre and Borja up top, mainly just because Borja is showing, especially with the PKs, you showed he has that, that PK against Argentina show us he wants it. He really wants that number 9, that position, that he deserves the number 9 position. Y no le dio miedo. Borre, because in La Paz we need pressure. We need a constant pressure against Bolivia because we need to force those mistakes, right? When we're playing over there. With what Randall just said, I'm very intrigued to see that right back position.
It's a good thought.
It's a toss-up for me.
It's a toss-up. I like Estefan Medina. He's the Monterrey's captain at the moment. He's playing well. I think he's always played well. He's played well in Bolivia. I think the first time that he was brought back, he played in Bolivia. And he played well. But Reinaldo Rueda showed that he likes Daniel Munoz. Is Daniel Munoz gonna play with? Is Cuesta gonna play? And that's when we're talking about, those associations playing together. They know each other. Maybe Oscar Murillo doesn't play and Cuesta plays. Something that I would also note, if Oscar Murillo is playing in Pachuca, Dairo Moreno is also playing in Pachuca now, and he could also play on that left side. So that's 2 players that are playing together that know each other. So, but he's
coming off an injury though, so I don't know.
Now, but he's back.
He is playing. Yeah. So that, hey, look, that FIFA chemistry don't lie. You know that FIFA 20. That's
Yeah.
no lie. You're building that team. You got to see that. I mean, it ain't no joke. It ain't no joke.
Danny's in modo Ultimate Team, FIFA Ultimate.
That's
Ultimate
right,
team,
bro.
Bring
You got
association.
you got to get it, bro. You know,
You need those green links, bro. You need those green links.
you need the links, bro. You got to. So it's an interesting thought, though, to the listener. No doubt, Munoz did well. I think he earned everybody's respect after what he did. Because of the altitude and how I think Colombia might struggle on the turnaround, I would like more of a defensive guy on that right side to allow Cuadrado to stay higher because I don't like him so far back, and I can't stand when he goes to right back. Yes, he does it well. Can he do it? Absolutely, he can. But we don't have that. Uh, we don't have that virtue. We don't have that ability. There's nobody else better than Cuadrado to be in that part of the field. No nos podemos dar esos gustos. No, we can't. He has to be up there. So I would like Stefan Medina to stay more locked down and allow Cuadrado to do his thing on the right side.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with Nico's lineup for sure.
What did the listener say there for Medina?
Maybe in the same sense, I would play Tecillo on the left to give Lucho Diaz
that's fine.
Freedom
too.
up top as well.
Yeah, and that's what we don't see, and that's what I mean. I mean, we are definitely. I think there was a time where you could fit in most of the pieces for Colombia. Right now, you can't. So I'm hoping that Rueda does a good job at really constructing this lineup and starting to give him some continuity, because I think that's key for what's coming up.
I agree. I just hope he keeps it simple. 4-4-2. You know what I mean? What the boys like. Even though you guys know we saw it against Argentina. He kind of second half from which it didn't go well, but we gotta keep it simple. I feel like we gotta keep it simple. It's a must earn 3 points. It's a very tie, even though it's gonna.
We gotta win away. One of these games we gotta win away.
These are the games that get you to the World Cup, essentially.
Right. And it's a tough one. Bolivia is not the Bolivia of old, and they're coming from a decent last game, if I'm not mistaken. And not just that, but
Eliminatoria,
you know where it is. They beat Ecuador, right? So that's what I mean. This Bolivia is no easy task. So Colombia is going to have to really bring it if they want to really get a result down there. It's not like in the past where you were going to go over there and just dominate regardless of what it was. It's going to be difficult.
If I'm not mistaken, last time we were there, we beat them by an Edwin Cardona goal in the 90th minute.
Yep, you're right.
Paraguay. I'm sorry, not the
Bolivia.
The Bolivia. It was the what's it called? The young cat. What was his name? Moreno.
That went to City.
Yeah, Moreno.
Nacional.
Yeah, he came in. He did work. He gave the pass to Cardona the same way that he did in Paraguay. That's why I got mixed up. But yeah, I'm intrigued. We'll see. I'm excited. We finally got Selección back. You want to do score prediction? Man. Marlos, yeah. Appreciate Jonathan Ochoa. I had it. I couldn't remember his name. There's so many Morenos. Didier. Anyways, Marlos Moreno. Jairo. Everybody in the comments. Score predictions. Who's going to get it? Do we win? Tie? What do you guys think?
It will be a solid win for Colombia. I'll say 0-2 for Colombia.
That'd be amazing.
I don't know. You go, Danny, real quick.
It's scary. It's scary. I'm hoping for a 2-0 will be amazing. I just know that, man, when they play over there, they always score. They always find, a goal from outside the box. I don't know if it's the altitude, the ball just kind of they know how to, I'm hoping for a 3-1. I'm gonna do a 3-1 Colombia.
I'll do a 1-0 grinder for Colombia, and wonder you're gonna just scratch your head and it's not gonna be pretty, but you're gonna pull off the win. Because I think that there will be some lack of communication, and I think it's gonna be tough for them to play in general in Bolivia. So I'm gonna give them a 1-0 because I think every single time that I've I've seen a Bolivia Colombia game. They haven't lost yet, so I'm gonna be watching this one.
Oh, you better be watching, bro.
So I'm gonna stick to it.
Yeah, we better be watching now. But yeah, we'll see. I hope we get the W. We need to start. We need to start with the right foot.
I think
going
we'll
into the
know
triple header.
we'll know how the match goes within the first 15 minutes because it's every Colombia game. The
Qué
first
estrés,
15 minutes
parce.
either
Qué
like
estrés.
la
Either
cagamos
we're
or we
down
look
2-0.
amazing.
Either
Yeah.
we're down 2 or we're like, oh snap, we got this.
Literally every time.
Now,
but,
parceros.
but, 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 but I think Colombia can really come out of this 3 games and maybe have 7 points. Look, Paraguay has a good team, but I think that we've had their number as of late. I think that Colombia can definitely compete with Chile. I think that they're a team in transition that continues to lack unification in the locker room. So I think there everything is in Colombia's side after that third place to kind of build on that
I agree.
and have a great eliminatoria.
Yeah, we
this
got
one.
players. We got players that are in key players that are in great form.
I think Paraguay is also missing Miguel Almiron, and
Exactamente. Yep.
so that's a big loss for them.
That's a
their
huge
work machine.
loss. That's a huge loss. That's their James.
Yeah, no,
Wow,
literally. And I mean, if one thing they're good at is set pieces, and Miggy is that set piece specialist Paraguay has. So
And what's up with James? Let's finish up on that one. I mean, should James be on this? I mean, what's going on? And I don't know what's going on. This is where I find it hard to not bring him, because what we just talked about for 37 minutes. For 37 minutes.
What I don't understand is how come Rueda say 500%? Like
Exactly.
James has to be in 500%, but you bring in Falcao and you bring in Quintero, where we don't know if they're in 500%.
And you bring in Mejia. So I mean, if you're gonna be like Juan Carlos Osorio, that would literally break that people's body fat, and he has all these things, and you see it. Oh, well, that makes sense. He kind of crazy with these equations, but everybody's fit, everybody's tall, everybody's like this because that's how he likes his teams. Yeah. But in this one, he's like, oh, I want James to be a 500%, but you're calling Cardona with la empanada in one hand running around. Like, come on, bro. It's just
la ponimata en la otra.
La ponimata en la otra. Ni siquiera un Milo. La ponimata, you know what I mean?
Y'all be roasting on Cardona, bro. Yeah, that's funny.
This coming from the chubby guy in the chat, by the way. That's hypocrite. Hypocrite.
Hey, but right on deadline day, I mean, James didn't go to Porto because he couldn't get meet their salary needs, and then he couldn't go to Milan for the same reason. So James, I mean, he's not valued as highly as he was years ago, and I don't think he gets that quite yet.
But James is still James in la selección, though. It's the same way right now. Who do you think on the pitch? Let's be honest. On the pitch, who do you think will contribute more between Falcao or James?
James, 100%.
Because the reason why I said because compared to Juanfer, I really would want to see that James in that 4-4-1-1 in that one role, right there, just roaming. I think that's when I saw Borré playing right there. I was like, yo, I think James can't. There is a spot for James.
Look, and I know Rueda would never do it, but a 4-2-3-1 with James in the middle and Lucho and Cuadrado with license to kill on the outsides, man. Hey, that sounds good to me. I mean, that's FIFA talking. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, throw in Quintero and James like that game against Poland.
Oh man, I was there.
One of the best games Colombia's ever played in a World Cup, man.
Those
two right there.
Oh,
that game. I just think you need them.
Oh man.
What about that game?
That was the best game I ever seen in my life, bro.
Yeah, it was a good game.
And we were struggling at first. Abelito Aguilar got injured. Once he got injured, Mateos came in. Look, I got my boy a gift. I brought my boy a gift.
Oh, that's sexy. I like that.
Man, I'm telling you, bro, that game was insane. Like that was the first, and this is what I understand about Peckerman. How is that the first time that we saw? And I always bring up Peckerman, but I have to ask this question: how is that the first time we ever see James and Quintero play at the same time?
Yeah, it was.
It
He
makes,
had that tendency.
it makes no sense, man. But anyway, that's not neither here or there. Let's move on. Let's
No,
move on.
no, but it's a good point though. So bottom line is, I think we could all agree that I think Hamas should be in this, and it doesn't matter if he was at 70%, at 35%, 15%, or 5% when the screen of your phone goes down. Even at that point, he's better than three or four of the guys that are called up on here. So
Yep.
I just don't get it. I
In
really
my
don't.
in my opinion, I think Rueda should have called him up. Sat him down, had that talk. You know what I mean? About papi, usted tiene que
Hey,
like,
but that's
bring him
implying
in.
James wants that talk. Maybe James doesn't come to terms with what Reda wants. Which is, I mean,
But that's what being a coach is about, especially in a national team, bro. You have to be somebody that's going to be able to understand different personalities and really accommodate to that, man. I mean, look, you can say what you want out of Peckerman, but he put us at the peak of Colombian soccer ever because he was able to really relate to players and bring up the Ibarbos of the world. And bro, James Rodriguez, that Brazil World Cup, bro, when he blew up, it was because of Peckerman. We had lost Falcao. We thought it was over, and then he plays James. He plays James as the false nine, and makes his career.
Are you talking about the worst Brazil in history?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, but the World Cup but we didn't play Brazil. We played other teams. We lost to Brazil. We ended up losing to Brazil. But I mean, in the group stage and all that stuff, obviously, and in that game with the
no, man, that was my thing with Peckerman. I mean, yes, I don't want to say he found James because James was already balling in Porto.
Oh, of course.
Before he was called, James was already balling. Yeah,
I agree.
But see, even before Falcao was down, James was already the guy.
Yeah,
James was already saving us in las eliminatorias. James was already literally like scoring goals. I always forget. We're playing bad against Peru. Out of nowhere, James, boom, goal.
Or against Chile away.
Or against Chile away. Same thing. Free kick, goal. And that was my issue with Peckerman. Yeah. You say he got us in the best, point in the history of Colombia. But he also with the golden generation. To me, that was the golden generation. We also played one of the worst soccer that I've seen. Let me explain. Let me explain. The top teams, Brazil. Yeah, we beat Uruguay 4-0 during that eliminatoria, but away, we didn't beat. We never beat Argentina. We never beat Brazil. We beat Uruguay at home, but away we kept getting stumped. We got stumped, and he kept making these decisions that I never understood. We will go to play Brazil, and he will put James para marcar a Marcelo. And what happened?
I will say this. I'll allow you to say whatever you want about his X's and O's, his strategy, and an ability to maybe not necessarily play attractive soccer, but you can't say shit about him. He's selecting un seleccionador. He was the best seleccionador, picking the best player. Yeah. Nobody wanted Baca. Nobody wanted Baca in, bro. Nobody. He was killing. Y lo trajo. Teo lo trajo. Y Barbo. Yo lo pedía de rato y lo trajo.
I love Ibarbo.
Entonces,
we're talking exclusively about 2014.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No, I know.
No, he died out. He died out.
He fizzled out pretty bad.
And then what happened in 2018? Exactly. What happened?
He died out.
Look, in 2018, the best thing that happened, and this is why I know, the best thing that happened to Peckerman in 2018 was Jerry Mina.
Yeah,
Jerry Mina,
absolutely,
bro. I would have been crying right here. Ron wouldn't have gotten that little cup that he got over there against the Poland thing. You would have had nothing because Jerry Mina saved us.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Jerry Mina saved us, and
there were a lot of questionable calls in that by him in that World Cup for sure.
Yeah, man.
But that's it, guys.
I just got tight. You just got me.
I know. I just messed up his vibe.
Yo, you missed on my vibe,
Si,
man.
si ya sabes
should have
cómo
beat
son, ¿para
England.
qué me invitan?
We should have beat England, bro. We should have. But on that note, man. Thank you for coming out, Niko. This is a lot of fun. For those of y'all that don't know, follow Niko at Rolo NW. Yeah. What's your? Is it Rolo NW?
Yeah, it's right there. Arroba el Rolo NW, el Rolo el NW. You could follow me on Pulso Sports, Sounder Our Heart, Football MLS. That's where I put most of my stuff. But obviously, my Twitter is the go-to. It's a pleasure being here, guys. Parcero por vida, man. I love it. Hopefully, this is not the last time. I think we'll have a lot to talk about after this 3-game stretch. I expect it to be a positive one, so I think that I might wear my colors in that one. Un poquitico de una copita de guaro.
Para los nervios.
Got it ready right here, bro.
There you go, my guy.
Tell me when.
There you go. I got my Antioqueño right here. So yeah, man, I'm good.
No, parceros. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Niko, for coming out. Make sure you guys subscribe. Either if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter, make sure you subscribe. I'm el Parcero Dani.
Parcero Ron.
Parcero Niko.
Hey, Parcero Niko. Nos vemos, parceros. Till next time.